A protester you can see there smashing up a police car as the crowd cheers him on. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured. Authorities arrested 17 people, though, at the scene. And all of this unfolding on the eve of Donald Trump's speech before a gathering of California Republicans. The Golden State now looming large in the race for the GOP nomination. Chief Correspondent Jonathan Hunt is reporting live for us from Los Angeles with the latest on all this. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, Heather. Cameraman Eric Barnes and I spent some 5 hours in the thick of those protests last night. It began peacefully enough. Certainly there was a lot of passion as supporters of Trump, thousands of them arrived for the event, shouted at the anti-Trump protesters. But then, as you can see, the sun went down, tensions rose, and it became a much darker moment as hundreds of those protesters blocked a major intersection outside the event. I personally saw some rocks thrown, a bottle thrown at an unhelmeted police officer, and then what you see there, the back of a police cruiser smashed and a protester stomping on the roof, essentially destroying that patrol car. They tried at one point to turn it over. They were not successful. Then the police began to move in, as you can imagine. We saw a couple of arrests made. One particular gentleman taken down in a very tough manner right in front of Eric Barnes' camera, as you can see right there. In all, we are told, confirmed by the Costa Mesa Police Department to me this morning, that they made 17 arrests in total, 10 men, 7 women. Now, in the midst of all of this, there was a lot of traffic caught up in the blocking of that intersection. And one of those vehicles contained a Trump supporter. He stepped out of that vehicle and then emerged from the crowd you see around him with a distinctly bloodied face. Paramedics were called and he was taken away for treatment. Now, we've all seen protests, even riots on the streets of America before, Heather. This was not a riot by any means, but it was a protest which, as you have plainly seen, turned violent at times. And I think what is extraordinary here is that this was not a 99% rally. This was not protests such as Black Lives Matter. This was outside a presidential campaign rally, and I think that is what the extraordinary thing here is, and that is what is worrying for many. As California looms so large on the primary calendar right now, there is clearly concern that this kind of scene could be repeated, and certainly that could do some damage to democracy rather than dignifying the process of democracy. Heather?
Yeah, I mean, it boggles the mind. What does tipping over a police car have to do with disagreeing with Donald Trump? It doesn't make any sense at all. Jonathan, live for us. Thank you.